And I'd be hearing an infomercial for how great Pierre Poilievre's social media skills. Sorry, the leader.
We'll back up. I mean, the Honourable Prime Minister knows he's not supposed to use the names of members of Parliament.
And I'd be hearing an infomercial for how great Pierre Poilievre's social media skills. Sorry, the leader.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I apologize. I didn't think Canadians were going to be hearing an infomercial for the Leader of the Opposition's YouTube page. The reality, Mr. Speaker, is Canadians deserve a government focused on delivering housing for them. That is exactly what we are doing with historic deals with cities right across the country, with measures to build more housing quickly. We are concretely solving that while he's talking to himself online.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. As we continue to listen to this review of amateur film, well, meanwhile, the media is in crisis. Supplements, like the Canada Child Benefit. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to very sincerely thank the Minister for her efforts to speak French. But the fact that she's speaking French doesn't actually help with the content of what she's saying. In fact, it shows are inventing a new tax, and the Bloc wants to increase it radically. My question is simple. Why create a new tax when people are struggling? The Honourable Minister of Transport. Mr. Speaker, this was an important moment. My colleague congratulated my other colleague for speaking French. I guess that's a bit of an attitude change among the Conservatives, but we should go further. We should congratulate my colleague for rising and speaking French despite the tyranny of his colleagues who might not want him to speak French.
Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes.
To help pay for overseas replacement workers, the NDP Liberal government is going to send every Canadian family a bill for $3,000. The formerly pro-worker NDP have refused to stand up to the Prime Minister and demand the release of contracts that detail the number of foreign replacement workers that are going to take Canadian jobs. This Prime Minister clearly isn't worth the cost to Canadian workers after 8 years, and neither are the NDP. So will the Prime Minister finally stand up and tell Canadians how many foreign replacement workers $40 billion buys?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, it's curious after 8 years in opposition to listen from these Conservatives and how little they have learned on foreign direct investment, Mr. Speaker. Clearly nothing. How little they understand about free trade deals, Mr. Speaker. Clearly nothing. How little they understand about creating good middle-class jobs, Mr. Speaker. What they are clearly against is 2,500 full-time jobs at the Stellantis plant, 2,300 construction jobs there. Mr. Speaker, it's clear that under a Conservative administration, Canada would be closed for business. Guess what, Mr. Speaker? Not on our watch.
The Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes.
Well, let's talk about what's happened under their watch. The Canadian Building Trade Union says that so far, this NDP Liberal government has cost them $300 million in wages. So if they are so proud of their record and so proud of these great deals that are going to cost every Canadian family $3,000, why won't they just release the contracts? They know that releasing those contracts will expose that $40 billion is buying a lot of foreign replacement workers that should instead be funding Canadian paychecks. Why won't they release the contracts today?
The Honourable Minister of Employment.
Mr. Speaker, there are smart people on the Conservative benches, including trade lawyers and people who understand that contracts between nations and between countries need to stay confidential because of important trade secrets. Mr. Speaker, what do the Conservatives have against the fact that Canada is now third in the world in foreign direct investment, Mr. Speaker, after the United States, after Brazil? Who is it? Canada, ahead of China, Mr. Speaker. Clearly, they're against Dow in Fort Saskatchewan. They're against Stellantis. They're against Bécancour. When are the Conservatives going to be on the side of workers, Mr. Speaker? I don't know. Maybe they do.